Nearly half of the men, 46%, say they're embarrassed to share their feelings about mental health, and this is significant. 49% admit that they're feeling more depressed than they let on.
I want to dedicate this fight to little baby Lee, little warrior. Like, more of a fighter than any of us will ever be. But also, I woke up on Friday morning at 4 a.m. to a message that one of my friends back home had killed himself. This was 5 hours before me weigh-in. So Ricky, lad, that's for you. But there's a stigma in this world that men can't talk. Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve it is by killing yourself, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone. People would rather, I know I'd rather me mate cry on my shoulder than go to his funeral next week. So please, let's get rid of this stigma and men start talking.
You ever ask a man how he's doing and he says, I'm alright. I'm here to tell you, that man is not alright. That man is battling demons that you cannot even possibly imagine. That man is struggling every single day to find a reason to keep going. And the reason we say we're all right is because as a man, nobody really fucking cares what you're going through. So why even bother to say it? But you know what? I feel you, brother. Because, I'm alright too.
Andrew, I have this problem. I'm depressed and I can't go to the gym. I say, no, I disagree. You're depressed because you don't go to the gym. If you go to the gym, you might start to feel better, right? I'm saying you can't sit as a man and afford the luxury of saying, I have a mental health issue today, I'm sad today, I'm stressed today, I'm emotional today, I can't work. Because you will lose against the men who don't do that. And the male world is more competitive than you could possibly imagine. And it's the women who pick the winners. So I find it very interesting that a woman sits here to me and says, no, men are allowed to sit around and do fuck all and feel sad. And those are the men they ignore when they DM. Those are the men they ignore them all.
We haven't focused on male mental health at all. After all, think about it. We have women's mental health centers at every major academic institution in America, but there's not a single male mental health center that I could find. And this is very concerning when you look at the ways that men dominate some mental health statistics. Like of the 40,000 suicides in America, roughly 78% were white male. So maybe part of the reason, part of our solution for what's happening with men in America is our lack of a focus on their unique mental health challenges. So often we think about development as something that just happens in adolescence, but my own experience as a man and my experience of my patients tells me quite otherwise, as I'm sure you see with your patients. The challenges in the 20s of finding your identity, in the 30s and 40s of managing a profession, and for many of us fatherhood, the 50s and 60s as we face our own parents' aging and demise and look back on our record of what we've done with our lives. These are all challenges that really deserve our attention and a conversation for men to better understand themselves.
Most men are basically invisible. There is not a female on the planet who's invisible today. You can be a 4, overweight, fat, you'll still go to the club and get attention. 99% of the men go to the club and nobody even fucking talks to them. If they try and talk to a girl, they get blanked and ignored and told to. Most men are absolutely and utterly invisible. This is the truth about masculinity, right? It's very easy for women to sit here and complain about the top 2% of men. Because I met with this guy, he's arrogant, blah, 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 blah. Most men don't even exist. They send 10,000 DMs and never even get read, let alone replied to. So if you just sit here and say, I'll get a G, a big G, a boss, a millionaire, and let him have a day off, very nice of you. But if a guy who wanted to have days off all the time, he never would have got important enough in the first place to attract a woman like you. And that is the reality. As a man, it's player versus player. It's ultimately competitive. And as a man, you have to outcompete the other men who are prepared to get up and do it anyway. That's how it works. There's no such thing as saying, I'm sad, I need 2 weeks off. Not as a man if you want to be important. Maybe as a chick, you can always put more foundation on and be hot again. Great. Not as a man. If you want to be important as a man, you have shit to do. You have duties. This is how it exists. This is how it's always been.
Yeah.
You know, men don't ask for directions when they're lost either. It's this male quality of not wanting to get help, go it alone, be brave. It's a noble male quality, but sometimes it can get in your way.
So when you come across men, what do you tell them? How do they get past this hurdle?
A lot of folks think they have to man up. We even have that phrase. If you really want to man up, you know, you want to protect your family. The most important thing a man needs to do iconically is to be there for the people in his life. And it's profoundly important to get men to understand that if they're not healthy, they can't walk their daughter down the aisle. They won't be there for the rest of their family if they need some help.
And my concern is we have a notion that men don't really present to mental health clinicians and men maybe don't have mental health problems. It discourages treatment. Or it does the thing that we often do is we don't encourage people to get treatment in a preventative way. It's one of the things about psychiatrists that's interesting is so many of us have been in psychotherapy to understand ourselves, our emotional world, and our work. I think the more that we can sort of spread the news of what we have to offer, the more that we can help men access treatment, my hope that psychiatrists in our profession can help with overall male behavior and how we relate to one another and to women.
It's not okay. It's necessary. What the hell are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers, they're up on the power lines, in the storms and the rain. They're keeping this impossible infrastructure functioning, this thing that works in a miraculous manner. They work themselves to death, and often literally, and the gratitude for that is sorely lacking, especially among the people who should be most grateful. You see university professors, especially of the social justice bent, who are among the most protected and privileged people that the world has ever produced. They take everything they have for granted, failing to understand entirely that there's a massive infrastructure of unbelievably hardworking, solidly laboring, working-class men breaking themselves in half on a regular basis, making sure that everything that always breaks works. And so a little gratitude for that is in order. And it's very useful to tell everyone, not just men, that they have an important role to play, a necessary role, and that if they act properly and honestly and forthrightly, that they can put their lives together and they can help their families and they can make their communities better, and that's not toxic masculinity, that appalling phrase. It's what keeps the world going round.
Life is short. And there's young people in this church today, and I want to remind you, life is short. It's too short to live depressed. It's too short to live anxious. And it's too short to struggle every day with thinking about taking your life. I want to challenge you tonight to get up. That you're not quitting tonight. That one day it is appointed unto all men to die. But that is God's responsibility, not mine. And so I don't know who I'm preaching to tonight, but I want to say to you, get up. Your future is brighter than your past. I want to say to you in the balcony, get up. Your ladder is greater than your former. I want to say to every person in this room, get up, because the best is still yet to come. I got a God who works miracles. Come on and worship him in this room.
So never give up. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy. Keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.